Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will Smith. Joining me, as always, Adam Savage.
Hello.
Norman Chan.
Hello.
We're sitting in a non-traditional order here, so we're mixing things up all over the place if you're watching the video.
It's been a while since we've been back at the cave.
It has.
Yeah.
We've taken a little
Podcast.
break.
Yeah, you've been seeing the world.
I did. You know, we had 2 weeks off from production, and in that 2 weeks, I went to Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Milwaukee, Chicago, Boston, and Palm Springs.
Wow, that you can even remember that is really impressive.
And not even in any kind of specific order. Like I came home between every single one of those trips.
did.
All in 2 weeks flat.
Oh, that's horrible. That's a
lot
lot
of
of back and
miles you
forth.
accrue.
I've got a weird pain in my left leg from, I think, sitting too long. I look like I'm getting deep vein thrombosis.
You need standing desks on the airplane. it's the next step. So we're here today. Next week is Halloween. So I always do you have a theremin in here someplace? I'm a little disappointed if you
know what?
don't.
I've never gotten around to getting a theremin.
It's something I've always wanted.
You had to learn it.
I'm going to remedy that.
I think it may be something you should build your own, like a lightsaber. You should build your own theremin.
I'm not interested.
Okay. Too much soldering. Halloween is next week.
Halloween!
And Halloween is one of those, like, when I moved to the burbs, I had a problem because I didn't know when kids. There's two different Halloweens. There's grown-up Halloween and there's trick-or-treating Halloween.
Well, and trick-or-treating Halloween is always Halloween.
And that's early.
See, in my neighborhood, sometimes it's Saturday night, which is real
Really?
weird.
That's really weird. Because as far as in my hometown, Halloween was always actual Halloween.
That's what
On
we
the
always did too.
31st,
Yeah.
And early in the evening before the sun sets.
Yeah.
The sun usually sets around 6
and
in October.
and if Halloween is Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, there's 2 weekends full of parties.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's the
That's
big.
the adult Halloween.
Yes.
But the thing about the weekend Halloween is the before weekend is like everybody's full of energy, really having a good time up until like 3 o'clock in the morning. The after weekend is when maybe the costumes have seen a little bit more wear, a little used. It's like the Dirty Princess after the ball.
Have you seen the website, by the way, that does it shows a taxonomy of the Bumblebee costume all the way from cute baby to whore?
Oh, no.
The evolution.
How many steps are there in the middle?
I think it's
is there like
5 or 6
i-
steps.
Is there a Telemundo like costume somewhere in the
I
middle?
don't want to see
But for Halloween for you, Adam, you say it's
Halloween.
amateur
I refer
hour.
to So there's a joke that drag queens in New York used to refer to Halloween as amateur night.
That seems right.
I think of it similarly. Not that I'm a drag queen.
Well, I mean, we're not going to judge you. It's okay.
Not that there's anything wrong
Yeah.
with it. I spent an inordinate amount of time in my early adulthood working with and for drag queens. Worked at the 8th Street Playhouse where the Rocky Horror Picture Show fad
Okay.
began. I ran lights at the onstage musical version of Whatever Happened to B.B. Jane here in San Francisco, which ran for a solid 7.5 months. And then I was a backstage tech at the Beach Blanket Babylon for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Here in San Francisco,
Oh, that's
yeah.
funny.
It's awesome.
Drag queens everywhere.
So you say it's amateur night
Amateur night.
because a lot of people don't put effort. It's an excuse for them to dress up, but they don't put the effort in. But I think of it, there's an opportunity to put effort in.
There
for
is
people.
absolutely, you're right, of course. And I don't mean to denigrate Halloween because what's funny is that I almost never dress up on Halloween. How about that?
Well, but it's like the real alcoholics don't go out on St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
All the revelers get in the way.
Right, that's right. Alcoholics also call New Year's Eve.
Are you
Right,
called
well,
out to
yeah.
judge costume contests and stuff?
I have never been called out to judge a costume contest. I'm sure I will be now.
Thanks, Norm.
No, not that I would love to do that. I really love. I've been to the Castro. So here in San Francisco, for those who aren't in California and San Francisco, we have an incredibly crazy famous Halloween celebration, which happens in the Castro, and it is. I don't know how it's been in the last couple of years. So I think the last time I went was about 4 years
They've
ago.
kind of squashed it.
They've tried to squash it.
People got stabbed. I think.
Well, I
is the
mean,
problem.
I remember at one point entering the crowd and being moved a block before I had control over my own feet.
Yeah.
It was like a river of humans. It was an accident waiting to happen, but you saw some of the most unbelievable shit you could possibly imagine.
and it ranged the gamut from family friendly all the way to things that scarred me as a 25-year-old.
I remember seeing one, again, drag queen dressed as Carrie, immediately post-prom, covered with blood. Who part of her costume was that she was followed 10 feet behind by someone who just repeatedly went, "They're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you," the whole time. It was super
performance.
creepy.
Oh yeah. Well, it's weird public performance art in a giant mob of people, which is awesome.
Exactly. I guess maybe the thing that I love about Halloween is when people totally bust out and try amazing things. The last time I was in the Castro, I'm like walking down the street and this guy walks past me in a black leotard covered with ping pong balls. And I went, "Ho, motion capture dude." And he turned around and was like, "Oh, thank God. I've been wandering around for 2 hours and you're the first person that understood my costume."
Creativity is
great.
rewarded.
Yeah.
But then there are sometimes like, when you see one more creepy gladiator.
Yeah. Well, or the 350 guys that got a light and put it underneath their white T-shirt and shaved their beard in a
I
specific
think
way.
that's fine.
And they're Tony Stark.
I'm curious to know what like the RPF form traffic is around Halloween.
Oh, it's it definitely
gets
rises.
more active, right? And
It gets
if
more
we can
active. People, the prices of costumes go up.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we can encourage people to not just go to Ruby's and get a cheap costume, but
yeah.
to do the research and use Halloween as an excuse, because they're not going to be able to get to go to Comic-Con. Or
You also
go
get a
to
lot of guys in the
Dragon Con.
RPF who sell stuff who, like a retailer makes most of their money over December. They make a lot of their dough over the Halloween
They
holiday.
fund the rest of their habit with
Yeah.
Jedi robes and
Exactly. Yeah. I know some famous costumers like Todd's Costumes does a ton of work up to in Halloween.
So for people who want those props and collectibles, maybe buy them right after Halloween when the prices drop.
That's what I do.
And get them. If someone really doesn't care to collect them and just splurges and sells them on Craigslist the week after, that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I was surfing the RPF yesterday, like I do every day, and the Jason Bourne burn bag has been getting a tremendous amount of traffic on the thread that I started about the contents of the burn
I'm sure.
bag. Whole new swaths of information showing up.
How many driver's licenses? Because we've since we posted that video, the email that's on the homepage of Tested, which is tips@tested.com if you want to email us, has gotten, I don't want to say 70 or 80, but there have been a lot of dimensions of European driver's licenses that have popped up.
It's distressing. I actually stopped. You forwarded a few of them to me.
I forwarded maybe the first half dozen, and then they just kept coming. And I think we may have gotten the last one last week.
Yeah,
which was also really good because it was a cop, like a Swiss cop, said, "Here's what dimensions are supposed to be."
Oh, so that. Excuse me. I don't know if I've read that one yet.
Oh, that one?
But isn't he not French?
But it's a Euro standard.
Oh, is it a Euro standard?
Yeah, so it's a Euro standard from that time period. He said that one would have been the very beginning of.
Okay, you'll have to re-forward that because that's great.
I can
that's
send it over.
definitive information. I'll post that up on the RPF.
And he describes why it's folded, why it's not a perfect trifold. It's so that it can tuck in right and it becomes a relatively small piece of paper. Anyway,
okay,
yeah. So
the other thing that's happening there is that I supplied all the information about the red burn bag to a guy I know, Indy Magnoli, who's a
That's a fantastic
grand
handle.
vizier of the RPF, and he's produced a series of them. I bought a few, just because why not?
Yeah.
And there's still some available. If you went to the RPF now, I don't actually know. No, you know what? Unfortunately, I have to say, if you're a non-member, membership is restricted and only open at certain times of year, and non-members can't buy things on the junkyard.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
So you'll have to sign up in a couple months, and then hopefully there'll be another run.
Well,
Lurk
they'll
for a
show up
while.
on eBay too, I'm sure,
That's true.
at some point.
That's true. Thanks, Adam. Good
No,
job.
I think that's the kind of video that resonated with people because it seemed like something that was accessible. Like as opposed, you don't have to learn vacuum forming. You could assemble.
I'm not sure that's I have a different theory about why it went viral. I thought that it was such a deep escapade into specific neuroses in a way that it's sort of like, holy crap, I can't believe all of the information that got
I mean,
research.
Well, it's a combination of the two, right? But I think that the thing is, people looked at that and said, "Look, Adam went completely bonkers here and learned an incredible amount of stuff about this 3-minute segment in the movie."
Yeah.
But that's something I can do too. I can be obsessive, and I know how to use, I can use the internet and track down this kind of stuff, and I don't have to know how to machine. I think what Norm is saying is I don't know how to machine something in order to replicate this.
I hope, and I guess in the end, I hope that one of the things people take away is excuse me. I hope that one of the things people take away is that there. I would love to bestow a certain amount of permission. Like just go be obsessed, go do the thing because you have to do the thing you can't not do.
Well, and it's okay to mess up because that's part of the
Yes.
whole thing. I mean, as we start building more stuff too, we've gone on a personal level from not having time to fuck up.
Right.
Basically, like if you're on a daily deadline or a monthly deadline for a magazine or website or whatever, you can't afford to have something and then not have anything to show that day. And we've kind of, we've learned that that's not maybe the way things work in the real world.
Yeah.
So should we talk about Halloween movies?
Let's talk about
scary
Halloween.
movies.
Excuse me.
We need to get you a cough button.
Yeah,
not to make the
I
cough
do need a
silent,
cough button.
but to make the coughing stop.
So what are your favorite horror movies, scary movies? Your
My
go-to
favorite.
Halloween movies?
I had to place close to the very tippy top is Alien,
Right.
which is, as John Landis points out, a gothic horror movie.
Haunted house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic gothic horror, even down to Giger's architecture.
Yeah.
That filigree like Gaudi and so Alien, American Werewolf in London, Landis' own, The Shining.
The Shining is real high on my list.
Never not upsettingly scary.
Just when he's even the steady cam shot of the behind the big wheel it's so creepy and so uncomfortable. And
There are new documentaries about, the people who are obsessive about The Shining, not because they want, they're obsessive in a way, not like you are, where you're building a prop, but they want to scrutinize, the inconsistencies, reading so much into cigarette, movements on the screen. And
I've been reading. I actually recently went through like 80 pages of a blog devoted to every frame of The Shining, and
they know things. Why are trees not in certain scenes on the outside of the house? It was the camera angle, or was it intentional?
And how the architecture of the house changes.
It's impossible
in the course of the film.
Yeah.
But it's one kind of thing where in your brain you would subconsciously know something was wrong.
It just makes you
but
uncomfortable.
it makes you so unsettled.
Well, it's just kind of so again, also up there, Evil Dead 2. I love Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2 is
Evil Dead 2 is a phenomenal, brilliant movie, and Evil Dead
amazing.
is awesome for what knowing the constraints that movie was made under. Evil Dead is amazing too, but Evil Dead, is
Evil
brilliant.
Dead 2 is so much fun and such a mature type of fun.
Well, it was kind of it was so far ahead of what other horror movies were doing at the time it came out, especially.
Yeah. Yes.
That you kind of really just it was really disturbing when you saw that and the first time.
Every movie embeds itself in your brain as a frame, gives you a thumbnail, I'd say. And Evil Dead 2 for me, it's the ballerina whose body is spinning but her head isn't.
That seems right. I always think of the witch in the hole under the just so creepy.
Absolutely.
I haven't watched that movie in probably 15 years. I watched it maybe twice and was no, I'm done. This is good. I've seen all I need.
I've also seen what many people consider the scariest movie ever made, which is The Descent. And while I loved it,
that's the movie about the girls going down to the cave and
about the women in the cave and the cave creatures, which are scary and it's well done and well made and really fun. But I wasn't that freaked out by it.
Yeah,
Not
so-
like I was at the end of Ringu, which made me jump off my freaking couch. Have you seen Ringu?
Oh, yeah. Both the
yeah.
original and
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't know what happens at the end, when it's so unexpected, and it's not like just a false ending where you think everyone's safe, but where they go with that and explanation.
It is. And I love Gore Verbinski. I think he's a goddamn genius. But I don't think The Ring is very good. I don't think it's nearly as scary, and it just feels like it just is. Ringu,
it's kind of a meta movie too, because the way it comes out of, I don't want to spoil the movie, but when you're watching the movie, how you watch the movie and what happens on screen, they're related.
Yes,
we should decide if this is going to be a spoiler cast or not a spoiler cast now.
I think we should make. I think we could say. I think we should be able to talk spoilers.
Okay.
We're going to talk
tend to
about
agree.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And it's been
we'll
out
get
for
there.
a while.
So you said The Descent, not scary for you. So my question is, what about a horror or thriller movie? What are you attracted? Like your jump scares, tension, surprises, like creatures.
That's interesting. So I think that it's a good question, and I think you've hit upon one of the reasons The Descent isn't that scary for me. I am totally not claustrophobic.
Okay.
And I don't get. I'm a guy who could do an MRI every other day, and I'd be fine. And I've been wrapped in tight spaces, obviously,
Right.
you've seen on the show, and So I don't get claustrophobic. So that doesn't work on me the way it does on many people.
Right.
So the thing for The Descent about me was the buildup was really good. I found the first the end of the second act was really, really strong, really, really scary. And then it just kind of I didn't like the reveal, and it didn't pay the payoff for the tension wasn't there. And that's where that movie broke down for me.
Well, and it's always that balance of how much, and it's funny because Spielberg sort of stumbles on it in Jaws. Not stumbles on it, but the late reveal of the shark is so brilliant and so intense. And I know a couple of different directors who think that the last shot of Alien, when you see its full body being blasted out of the Narcissus, is the worst shot in the movie because you just see too much. Up until then, you've never gotten a chance to understand its structure. And that's much scary. What you can do in your head is so much scarier than what anybody can do on screen.
It messes up the scale, and that last shot especially, you see it as being man-sized more or less.
It's a guy in a suit.
Because it's a dude in a rubber
using
suit.
your imagination against you, what good horror movie directors do, and they play to certain scares. Like, for example, claustrophobia, being alone is a theme in movies. Your superstitions and the paranormal.
Rosemary's Baby. Terrifying movie. You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, man, you have no idea. Ruth Gordon is like the scariest villain in the world. And she's like, would you like some chocolate, mouse?
So what modern movies? Because you've named a lot of classic horror movies.
I named a lot of classic ones. So we said we're going to talk about Cabin in the Woods. I loved Cabin in the Woods.
Did you think it was scary though?
That's a good question. See, actually, I didn't think it was that scary.
I laughed. I watched it, and I watched it in a hotel room late at night, which is probably the wrong venue for that movie.
Yeah.
It seemed like it would be better to watch in a big crowd of people. But it was really clear what was going on early on.
Yeah.
And as soon as the second person died, or as soon as the first person died, you were like, oh, okay, I get
Yeah.
this.
So you're right. It wasn't necessarily scary.
But you like the movie. We all like the movie.
Yeah. No, I love it
because of its acknowledgement of horror movie tropes.
Well,
I will tell you that I can't watch movies. I won't watch movies like Hostel.
Mhm.
I'm not interested in the torture porn genre.
Yeah.
It just doesn't float my boat.
It's weird.
There's
It's
nothing.
they make you uncomfortable.
Right.
It makes everyone uncomfortable. And there's only so much you can do with that.
There's only so much I can take before I feel like genuinely dirty and unhappy.
Right. Will said he laughed, and I think we all watched Cabin in the Woods. There are a lot of humorous parts of that.
Yeah.
Clever, intentional in the writing. A movie like, have you seen Drag Me to Hell? That's Sam Raimi's. That one is funny, but it also has
It
jump
was
scares and
genuinely,
scary moments.
but he does jump scares.
He does. Raimi is brilliant at the jump scare, and also, the gross out scare.
Yeah.
He loves following. When that corpse's mouth just keeps on spewing the liquid all over her face.
Right, and then it's a jump scare, but then a moment of levity, and you're all allowed to bask in the hilarity of the situation.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know about this, but in American Werewolf in London, spoiler alert, David, after having been bit by the werewolf, has been in a coma for 20 some odd days. And he wakes up in a British hospital and he starts having a set of nightmares. And the nightmares sort of complete act one of the movie. And they are genuinely horrific in several ways. There's some scary Nazis that shoot up the house and murder everybody. And then there's the one where he wakes up and Jenny Agutter, the most beautiful woman in the world at the time, gets up and she's his nurse and she's like, oh, I'll open the curtain. She opens the curtain and one of the Nazis from the nightmare he's just had comes out and stabs her. But Landis delays the stabbing of her chest. He times it so that she opens the curtain, Nazi comes out, you go, ah, and the Nazi raises the knife and you close your eyes and then you open them and that's when the Nazi plunges the knife into her chest. He's timed it to screw with your timing.
Because that's part of the, but that's part of the thing of the horror movie, right?
Yes.
If you look at, even it's one of the things that the Scream series did really well is the messing with the timing. Well, the first one more so than the others.
Yes,
But they knew the tropes of the slasher movie. It was so dialed in at that point. Wes Craven did. It was Wes Craven, right? Yeah. Wes Craven was so dialed in with that whole, because he'd been doing them for 15 years at that point. That movie that had it. I don't want to say it was the same thing, but it was very, very, very referential of the entire kind of slasher film genre, which I don't, those aren't very scary generally anymore, at least.
And
I'm just rambling at this point. I have no idea what I'm saying
When you watch
anymore.
a scary movie, you're kind of, you've seen enough of them to know certain shots, like when they linger, it's building up to something.
Yeah,
and they
well,
play the
music.
expectations of cinematography.
In Warner Brothers or especially Flintstones cartoons, when there's a drawer that's about to be opened, you can tell because it glows.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the
a
only
different
thing that's
color.
moving in the background.
Right, it's
Yeah.
the only
Cell
thing that's
shading
moving.
from the yes.
Horror movies. Yeah, there's always the and then there's the stuff, the suspense stuff that I don't love. I don't love like the meaningless shot from the bushes that's not someone staring at them.
Yeah, just the setup shot of the outside of the house from too far away to
Because
see.
when you're seeing a shot from the bushes, you expect that's the view of the killer.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's not, I get sort of like, now you're just messing with me. You're just trying everything. Come on.
Well, so the thing, to pull it back to Cabin in the Woods, the thing that I liked about Cabin in the Woods was it seemed like the intention was to do what Hugo did for film with Cabin in the Woods. It starts out with and goes through the history of horror for the last 30 years. The cabin is very clearly Evil Dead.
People kept saying, "Is it a horror movie?" And I go, "No, it's all horror movies."
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly it. That's the thing that I was completely, because I don't generally like horror movies that much, and I really quite enjoyed that. I thought it was very satisfying to me.
I also don't think of horror as one of my genres. I don't seek out the super scary movies. So I didn't see Rob Zombie's remake of Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
Did he do it?
He did Chainsaw Massacre, and
I've never even seen the original Chainsaw Massacre. So there's some big gaps in my filmography.
and horror movies include slasher movies, but I don't think I don't think most people who weren't 14 thought that slasher movies were scary. I mean, how after the first
I
Friday the
watched all the
13th,
Friday
and
the
after
13th,
the
but that's
first,
because that was in the 80s and HBO played them constantly.
right, you couldn't get away from that.
It is a wide. It's a big genre category, right?
Yeah.
Horror. You have slashers. You have thrillers. You have supernatural. You have monsters.
Zombies.
You have
Wait, there's got to be a couple of
guess
really
monsters
good
are zombies.
vampire movies. Well, The Fearless Vampire Killers, which is an early
never
Roman
seen that.
Polanski film starring Sharon Tate, is genuinely scary.
let me in.
Let the right one in.
Yeah, that was scary.
Sorry. Now, there you go, is one of the scariest and most brilliant films I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I still haven't seen the one with the good subtitling.
Oh,
Don't watch Netflix one. The Netflix one is not good subtitling.
okay.
So I was blown away by how great that movie is. And how about that? You don't see any gore. There's pretty much no gore in that film except for the last couple of minutes.
It's all performance and it's all.
Yeah. Well, it's just tension. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, actually, yeah. So I saw that movie with my wife, and we were kind of blown away by how much we liked it. And I'm going to reveal how dumb I am. So I went to work the next day, and my producer said, "Oh, did you like it?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, mate, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was so dark how it was clear that the old man who took care of the girl was once a young boy that she seduced just like this young boy." And I went, "Oh, I didn't realize that." And then I called up my wife and she was like, "Oh my God, we're so stupid."
Well, but
It's the darkest ending ever. Least romanticized view of immortality.
Yeah.
ever.
Zombie movies. Zombie movies fit in this category.
Zombie movies fit this category.
They're not scary a lot of times. They're
not
jump
that
scary.
Well, and speaking of jump scary, they're really scary when you make them fast zombies.
Well, 28 days later, it's fucking
is
terrifying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good. I just watched it again about 6 months ago, and it's still great. Cillian Murphy's.
We went to lunch and it was on at the restaurant we were having lunch at. And it's like, actually, it was 28 weeks later, but I was like, this is a really weird choice for a lunchtime
Vomiting
movie.
blood's never really
Yeah.
something I want to see on a screen. Cillian Murphy is somebody my wife and I would refer to as a member of the all-alien basketball team.
Oh, that seems about right.
Type of movie stars whose faces just are really lovely but not quite right, like Deborah Unger.
Yeah. What was the movie he was in with the rats? I never saw that, but it looked kind of creepy.
That was
Willard?
That was not
That's-
Cillian Murphy. That was
That's a remake.
Oh no,
isn't
that's
it?
not Cillian Murphy. That's
Back to the Future Dad.
Scarecrow.
No, Back to the
No, Scarecrow is
Cillian
Cillian
Murphy.
Murphy.
You're talking about the guy of Back to the Future.
Oh.
Plays Georgia
Oh,
Clyde.
right.
He was in Charlie's Angels too.
Yes, you're
Yes.
thinking of. Oh my God, we are all old dudes that we can't remember.
Oh, this
Now
is
we have the
bad.
internet's like yelling at us
The
right now.
internet
Yeah,
people are like, I can't believe you can't remember his name.
You
He almost
monsters.
kicked David Letterman in the face with a cowboy boot.
Yeah.
He made like several movies with his he made all his money from Charlie's. And we know everything about him. We just don't know his
Everyone
name.
listening thinks that we're trolling right now.
I have a computer in front of me. I could look it up, but I'm not going to.
Oh, goodness. It's one of those moments.
There's no relief. This is
He
tension.
was
This is
replaced in Back to the Future 2. And he won a landmark lawsuit case because they used his likeness.
is it Oliver something?
No.
Is he somebody's brother?
No.
No.
This is good talk, guys.
His first movie is The River's Edge with Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
He plays the back. How about this? I can remember all of these things.
wow.
Yeah, we know everything about.
How many steps is he from Kevin Bacon? That's the real question.
Oh, not very far if you've been in a Keanu film.
Yeah.
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. Okay.
What a trio of idiots we are, honestly.
Yeah, that was really. Yeah, he's a weird name, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, horror movies. Cabin in the Woods. I thought that Cabin in the Woods was. I love the context. It might have been you that told us the theory that it was the bookend on Joss's first universes.
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Oh, so the theory was that the monsters represent all the monsters from Buffy and all the other stuff that he's done throughout the years. I thought that was a little too pat.
That is a little.
I don't think-
I can't imagine he would restrict himself by something like that.
I don't think he would. I don't think that's a hard and fast.
It's out on Blu-ray now.
Yes.
It is also a movie that's really cool to freeze frame on Blu-ray. There are two scenes that, if you remember from the movie, one when they're making the bets on the whiteboard.
Oh,
and you freeze frame that.
I went online and found someone had screenshot it, and I love the list.
Yes, the list is hilarious. One of those things,
And that
attention
line.
to detail.
No, you said zombies.
Yeah.
This is zombie. This is redneck
redneck-
zombie torture
right,
family.
right.
As different from zombies as elephants and elephant seals.
Exactly. And then the very end, when they pan out and they're in the elevator, and you see all the the reveal of all the monsters. There's actually in behind the scenes how they shot those. So they actually made different size boxes, glass boxes.
Wow.
So they had a small glass box where they put a woman in there, a normal sized person, so it became a giant woman, and then they had a
Nice.
smaller one where they put insects in there, so it's like a giant insect.
Oh, that's very funny.
And they spent basically weeks just having fun doing all this type of costuming just for one shot.
I
Literally.
know. And
What an amazing shot, though. I mean, it's an awesome shot.
I bought the actual making of book. So with all the special makeups, and some of those makeups, I mean, the team was incredible. They did some of those makeups in a couple of days flat, using every technique they've ever learned. It's just obviously everyone had a tremendous fun on it. Had a tremendous fun.
Yeah, we all had a tremendous fun at some point or another. Adam.
We should give recommendations. I mean, Halloween it is next week, but to watch movies for this holiday, what are the essentials? We can go around and
Well, I mean,
Alien.
I think everything that we've talked about so far would be on that essentials list.
I would add The Mist.
The original,
The
John Carpenter with Adrian Barbeau.
I have not seen that. I've only seen the Frank Darabont one.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the new one.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen either.
Oh, wait. I'm referring to The Fog.
Oh, I haven't seen the.
Is that the one where people turn inside out,
No,
as referenced in The Simpsons?
I don't think so.
Was the end of one of the Treehouse of Horrors, where anyway,
Oh God, when he turns the baboon inside out in The Fly,
Fly's pretty good.
So sorry, I forgot the whole Cronenberg. Everything by David Cronenberg is scary, even the non-scary ones.
Yeah,
But I mean, you go back to Shivers, Dead Ringers.
Dead Ringer is terrifying.
Dead Ringers is terrifying. The Fly, Existence is great, but that's a whole different genre of Matrix type movies. We got to do that. We talk about Existence, 13th Floor, The Matrix, and
City.
What's the one? What's the last? Dark City.
Yeah, Dark City.
All four of those
The
are.
Kiefer one was Dark City, right?
That's Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Is
Rufus
Kiefer
Wainwright.
Sutherland in Dark City?
He plays the scientist.
Oh right,
It's pre-24,
It's back right.
pre-yelling,
It's
yeah.
before he was a handsome guy.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
it's post.
Well, it's post Brat Pack.
post-teen
Yeah.
heartthrob.
Yes.
I'm a handsome
Yeah.
older dude on television.
But it was before he developed the 2-line acting technique where he says the line and then yells the line.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that was his technique.
Right.
But now
that's the key for method acting.
you know
yeah.
what Richard Gere's acting technique is blinking and really fast blinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That works.
Yeah.
So hold on. I have one more question about Cabin in the Woods for you guys. Does Joss Whedon hate millennials?
Oh, why he kills them like that?
No, not why he kills them. Why they choose at the end of the movie, fuck the world. If I have to kill you, I'd rather have the whole world burn.
I get the idea.
That was very kind of nihilistic, I thought.
You know what? It's funny because I didn't think that it was nihilistic. I actually felt weirdly like it was hopeful, and I would love to talk to him about this. Here's why. I always think of it from a screenwriter's standpoint. Like he's painted himself into a corner, and you could do a happy ending or a sad ending. And there's this really dark ending where she kills him to allow the things to live.
But that's maybe not necessarily the dark ending.
Yeah, but given that you've grown to love these characters and you've identified with them, the question is, do you think it's worth dying?
Well, it's
yourself?
the Wrath of Khan.
Yes, the good of the many outweigh the good of the right. But at the same time, I felt like choosing a different outcome that you really didn't expect. Which in a way he had to do because a good horror movie always has a twist at the end.
Okay.
Right? And so
I'll give you that one.
What also closes the door?
He chose his characters above everything else. And I think that's one of those things that I think typifies Whedon along with people like Tarantino and my favorite author, Raymond Chandler, is that they start from the characters and they move out from that. The plot is less important than these great characters. And Buffy is nothing but 7 years of great characters. And I have no doubt that Joss would love to hang out and have a beer with every character he's ever written, including the villains. And so he chose that his characters were paramount over the world. And while that sounds dark and nihilistic, I feel like from a standpoint of being the creator of that world,
the meta comment of the meta movie,
the metacognition of being the god of the world that he's written, he's chosen to make his characters completely have free will.
I walked away from that the first time thinking, wow, he really hates 20-year-olds. And then
he loves them, Buffy.
But he likes 20-year-olds 10 years ago, which are 30-year-olds now. His age.
Yeah, see, I stand by what I've said. I think it's a hopeful
I'll
ending.
buy that. I mean, and
I think that he felt good about it when he wrote it. Like, oh, that's great.
And I think he ended it with, the fist coming out and the world ending so that there could be no, sequel. He didn't need that world to be expanded. Everything he wanted to say was in that.
Right.
If they had survived and the world continued on, I could see what's next?
Oh, no,
What's
there's a total post. There's a total sequel. It's all just John Connor Terminator 3 sequel. It's the fight against
the bunker
gods.
in the woods.
Right, the bunker in the woods. It's actually, wouldn't that be awesome? Oh my God, this is brilliant. Someone needs to do a 4-minute fan film sequel, which is, I wonder if we're like the Monty Python
constantly getting smashed. Resistant fighter after resistance fighter. Right. Splat, 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 splat. What are you watching on Halloween, guys? What will be your Halloween? So when kids come to the door to trick or treat, I usually like to have something moderately scary, but not too scary.
That's the other thing is that being who I am.
Oh yeah.
Can get in my old neighborhood as I'm walking back to my house. I'm like, dude, nice costume. This kid had a costume, and he turned around immediately, looked at me, and then screamed at a volume louder than I thought humans could produce. The Mythbuster guy just said my costume was great. So we put candy out, but we also Halloween freaks our dogs out.
Oh yeah, we have dog. Chloe has to stay in the back room.
They go insane. So my kids are now 13. They've been getting into horror movies. They've been watching a bunch of them, but they still haven't made it all the way through American Werewolf in London. It's been a year and a half since they tried. I think it's time to try again.
Okay. We'll have to check back on that and see how it's going.
Yeah, we'll see how they did.
Norman Chan, do you have trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood?
Yeah, I live in a very lots of schools.
Okay. Do you guys dress up and
no, it's candy.
Just have candy.
Again, like the weekends that bookend Halloween are the times to go out and dress up.
Excellent. Well, we will see you guys next time with another episode.
Are you guys? Sorry, actually, I wanted to know: are you guys getting costumes ready for Halloween?
I have 2 potential costumes.
I was on the RPF very recently, and
You want to reveal? Is
No,
this going to
no,
air
no,
before
no.
Halloween?
This will air tomorrow.
Oh,
probably,
okay, great.
So, yeah.
I will not
So
reveal.
then we'll find out. I'll find out. I'm going to find out in 1 minute. In your face, internet.
See you guys next time.